Scene opens in a packed courtroom. Tension crackles in the air. The defense lawyer, sweating under the judge's stare, abruptly gathers his files and turns away from his client. Lawyer, frustrated, loud whisper. "I can't win this. I'm done." Gasps echo. The young man at the defendant's table looks stunned. Alone. Abandoned. Reporters scribble notes. Cameras flash. Judge, stern. "This court will not tolerate delays. If the defendant has no counsel, we will proceed regardless." A beat of silence. Then. Voice, clear, high-pitched, and unwavering. "I can defend him." The entire courtroom turns in shock. An 8-year-old girl in a second-hand dress steps forward, clutching a worn backpack. Gasps. Murmurs. Camera zooms in. Judge, confused. "Excuse me, who are you?" Girl, calmly. "My name is Lily. And I know he didn't do it." Title card on screen. "I can defend him." The story of a girl, a courtroom, and a millionaire no one believed in. Scroll narration begins. In a city where justice often bends for the powerful and breaks the powerless, one courtroom would become the setting for a story that no one would forget. Lily Carter was only 8 years old. Small, quiet, and poor, with no connections, no fame, and no money. But what she had, was truth. And a memory that refused to let injustice win. Just a few blocks away, 24-year-old Adrian West had everything. He was born into wealth, inheriting a fortune when his parents died in a tragic plane crash. But despite his money, Adrian chose a simple life, working in the community, building youth programs, funding schools. He wanted to make a difference. Until one day, he found himself arrested for a crime he didn't commit. And in that courtroom, with the media circling like vultures, his own defense lawyer gave up on him. But someone else didn't. And she was only 8. Puzzle piece backstory setup. Round pushpin location, Crestwood City, a place of gaps. Crestwood was a city of contrasts. Glass towers on one end, boarded up apartments on the other. Adrian lived between both worlds. After inheriting his parents' vast estate at just 18, he rejected luxury and instead transformed the family mansion into a shelter and literacy center. The media mocked him. The billionaire with a backpack, they called him. But the people loved him. Especially one little girl. Lily Carter. She lived on the edge of the city, in a cramped trailer with her grandmother. They were struggling. Her parents were gone. But every Saturday, Adrian would visit her school and read books to the kids. Not as a millionaire. Just as Adrian. To Lily, he wasn't just a man, he was hope. Balance scale the charges. Then came the news. A prominent tech executive had been robbed and assaulted outside a conference. Security cameras caught someone fleeing the scene, wearing a hoodie similar to Adrian's. Police claimed the attacker was tall, had Adrian's build, and matched his face closely enough. It didn't matter that there was no DNA. No clear video. No motive. The media ran with it. Billionaire vigilante attacks rival. They asked. Stocks plummeted. Sponsors withdrew. And Adrian was arrested. Despite evidence that didn't add up. Despite his alibi. Despite everything he stood for. Man judged the betrayal. Adrian's lawyer, a man named Charles Denton, was confident at first. But as pressure mounted, threats came in, and money stopped flowing, Denton began to distance himself. When the trial started, his body language changed. He missed key meetings. And when the judge denied his motion to delay, he snapped. He walked out. Leaving Adrian alone, accused of a violent felony. Cameras swiveled. Gasps rose. And that's when Lily stepped forward. The courtroom was frozen. The silence was so thick, you could hear the ticking of the judge's clock. A security guard took a step forward, unsure whether to remove the child from the courtroom or let her speak. Judge Alderman, raising an eyebrow. Miss Lily, was it? Do you have a parent or guardian here? Lily, with quiet confidence. My grandma's outside. She couldn't come in because of her oxygen tank. But I watched the case. I've read everything. I know he didn't do it. Adrian, stunned whisper. Lily? What are you doing here? Lily, turning to him. You once said that standing up for what's right doesn't wait for permission. You helped me. Now it's my turn. The judge gave a long, calculating look. A lawyer from the prosecution side laughed out loud. Prosecutor Dodge, mocking. Your Honor, are we really entertaining the idea that a child is stepping in as counsel? Judge, firmly. Enough, Mr. Dodge. Let her speak for 1 minute. That's all. Then we proceed. Brain narration continues. That single minute turned into something no one in that courtroom was prepared for. Lily, only 8 years old, walked up to the defense podium. She placed her tattered backpack on the desk, unzipped it slowly, and pulled out a thick manila folder. Dozens of pages, stapled printouts, handwritten notes in the margins. Surveillance stills. Timestamp comparisons. Receipts. Satellite images. Even security footage copied onto a DVD from a local grocery store a few blocks away from the scene. She had done the work. The kind no one expected from a child. Puzzle piece Lily's secret. Flashback, 2 weeks before the trial. Lily overheard her grandma talking about Adrian's arrest. She couldn't believe it. The man who gave her books and sandwiches on Saturdays, the man who taught them to read stories and believe in themselves, was being called a criminal. That night, Lily stayed up late, watching the news on her grandma's old laptop. And she saw it, the blurry image of the supposed suspect. Something was off. The hoodie. The shoes. The watch. It didn't match what Adrian wore the day she last saw him. She remembered because she had drawn him in her sketchbook that morning at the shelter, with detailed colors. She started comparing footage. Looking up landmarks. She rode her bike around the city, asking shop owners for time-stamped camera feeds. Some laughed at her. Others ignored her. But one man, Mr. Patel, the corner store owner, remembered Adrian coming in at the same time the crime supposedly occurred. That was her breakthrough. She printed screenshots. Notes. Got her teacher to explain some of the legal language to her. Her librarian helped her understand timestamps and angles. Movie camera back to the courtroom. Lily, pointing at her timeline chart. This is Mr. West entering Patel's grocery at 8:42 p.m., 2 minutes after the attack took place. The prosecution said he was fleeing the scene. But how can someone be in 2 places at once? She clicked her pen and moved to the next photo. Lily. This is a frame from the actual security cam at the scene. See the shoes? That's a Nike Air Max. Adrian wears Skechers. He always does. I drew them. Laughter. Shock. Whispers. Judge, softly. You drew them? Lily, nodding. Yes. He said they were the most comfortable shoes ever made. I thought they were ugly. But I remembered. Adrian covered his mouth. The courtroom was no longer amused. They were captivated. Brain flashback, Lily's motivation. Lily had always been the quiet kid. The one others ignored. After her parents passed, she stopped speaking at school for nearly a year. It was Adrian who noticed her during one of his community visits. He gave her a copy of To Kill a Mockingbird and said, "Sometimes the bravest voice is the smallest one. Just don't let them silence you." Those words burned into her soul. Now, standing in a courtroom filled with lawyers, cameras, and judges, she had become her own version of Atticus Finch, but younger. Smaller. Yet every bit as brave. Balance scale. The court reacts. Judge, firmly. Court will recess for 24 hours. I want the DA to verify this new footage. Mr. Dodge, I suggest you review everything this young lady has submitted. The prosecution team looked shaken. The defense table? Empty, except for Lily, still standing tall beside Adrian. Brain narration. That day, she wasn't just a girl. She was a warrior. A beacon of hope in a system that had failed so many before. But it wasn't over yet. Because while Lily had given the court a reason to pause, dark forces behind the scenes were beginning to stir. The case was no longer just about justice. It had become a threat. And some people would do anything to silence the truth. The courtroom is empty now. The lights dimmed. Security guards slowly pacing the marble floors. But outside, the media is ablaze. Headlines flood the internet. Child defends billionaire in court. Who is Lily Carter? 8-year-old shocks legal system with evidence no lawyer found. Is this the start of a new trial, or a national embarrassment? News vans swarm the courthouse. Photographers camp outside Lily's trailer. Adrian West, once labeled a criminal, now has supporters cheering his name. But with attention, comes danger. Round pushpin scene, Lily's home. Lily returns to her neighborhood in an unmarked car escorted by a court-martial. Her grandmother waits by the door, oxygen tank in place, eyes filled with worry. Grandma. Baby, what have you gotten yourself into? Lily, quietly. He helped us when no one else did. I couldn't just watch them destroy him. Grandma nods, tears rising. She knows Lily's heart, but she also knows how powerful people react when their grip is threatened. Warning: mysterious visitor. Later that night, Lily is at the table rereading the prosecution's motion when a knock rattles the trailer door. Grandma. Lily, don't answer it. But it's too late. A man in a black suit, with a thin briefcase and a too-friendly smile, stands outside. Stranger. Evening. I'm from Crestwood Legal Affairs. Just here to drop off some paperwork the court forgot to give you. Grandma, suspicious. At 10 p.m. You think we were born yesterday? She slams the door shut. Minutes later, they realize their internet is down. Power flickers. Her evidence files, gone from the shared drive. Lily's folder. Still safe, under her bed. Movie camera scene, Adrian's side. Adrian is placed in protective custody, but he's not safe either. A mysterious call from an unknown number warns him. Tell the girl to stay quiet. Or she'll never get to the stand again. He grips the phone. Adrian. You messed with the wrong child. And I won't let you touch her. The next morning, he demands to speak directly to the judge, offering names, emails, and internal communications from his old corporate rivals. He suspects one of them is behind the entire setup. One name keeps coming up: Elliot Granger, the CEO of a security tech firm Adrian refused to partner with. The man who once said, "I'll own you, one way or another." Balance scale scene, back in court, day 2. Lily is brought back in with security. But this time, she's not alone. 2 young lawyers from the Youth Justice Initiative, inspired by her courage, volunteer to help her present her findings legally. They call it Team Lily. Judge, firm. You may remain on as an evidentiary witness, but the attorneys will present your work. Lily nods. She doesn't care about the spotlight. She only wants the truth out. Prosecutor Dodge, panicking. Your Honor, this is a media circus. These documents could be fabricated. That's when Adrian rises. Adrian. Let's test that theory. Because if they are, then charge me again. But if they're real, then someone in this city tried to frame an innocent man, and an 8-year-old is the only one brave enough to uncover it. Brain narration. Piece by piece, Team Lily dismantled the prosecution's case. Alibi confirmed. Security footage verified. Witnesses came forward. Motive exposed. Emails between Elliot Granger's team and local officers revealed a smear campaign meant to take Adrian down, because Adrian refused to sell the land Granger wanted for his new facility. Movie camera courtroom drama peak. Lily, pointing to timeline on TV monitor. You said Adrian left the scene of the crime at 8:39. But here's the security footage at 8:41, showing him laughing with a cashier while buying peanut butter. Look at the receipt. He didn't even have time to cross town. Someone lied. Gasps. The jury stirs. Even the judge leans forward. Judge, quietly. This is extraordinary. Warning twist, the real culprit. A forensic expert steps in with newly unlocked metadata from the surveillance footage. It shows that the original tape from the scene was edited. And the person who provided the edited copy? Elliot Granger's private security firm. Pushpin end of Act 3 summary. Lily is targeted by mysterious forces trying to bury her evidence. Adrian identifies a powerful enemy, Elliot Granger. Lily and new allies turn the courtroom tide with unshakable proof. The judge begins to see the corruption behind the case. And the real conspiracy begins to unravel. Fast, the city is buzzing. Crowds gather outside the courthouse. Protesters hold signs that read, "Free Adrian. Let Lily speak. Truth doesn't need a price tag." Inside, the courtroom is under maximum security. Armed officers line the walls. Judge Alderman, known for his no-nonsense demeanor, calls the court to order with a thunderous bang of the gavel. Judge. Bring in Elliot Granger. The doors open. He walks in slowly, polished suit, expensive cologne, and an arrogant smirk. The billionaire who thought he owned the city. He scans the room like it's beneath him. He nods at Prosecutor Dodge. They exchange a look. But Dodge isn't smiling anymore. Granger sits. Balance scale testimony begins. Judge. Mr. Granger, do you recognize this security footage? Granger, coolly. My company provides surveillance for dozens of properties in Crestwood. That could be any of ours. Attorney Mayfield, Lily's legal team. Let me rephrase, do you recognize this edited footage? Because the original timestamp shows a 2-minute jump cut, right at the moment the suspect's face is visible. Granger narrows his eyes. Granger. Technical error. We can't be held responsible for corrupt data. Lily, quietly, from the bench. It wasn't corruption. It was a cover-up. Everyone turns. Her voice, though soft, pierces the room. Mayfield holds up the forensic report, the one Lily helped uncover. Mayfield. Your Honor, this metadata proves the footage was edited at 2:16 a.m., by an IP address linked directly to Mr. Granger's home office. Granger, voice rising. That's absurd. You're taking a child's word over mine. Judge, stern. This child presented evidence no licensed attorney did. You will answer the question, Mr. Granger. Granger's face reddens. Suddenly, his lawyer leans over and whispers. Granger stiffens. He looks up. Granger, reluctantly. Fine. One of my assistants may have tampered with the file. But I didn't authorize anything. Movie camera a sudden revelation. Just then, Adrian leans forward. Adrian. Play clip 7. On screen, the court watches footage from the hallway of the crime scene, footage not entered by the prosecution. There, in grainy black and white, is a figure slipping something into a security panel, then quickly walking away. Freeze frame. Mayfield. Facial recognition confirms the individual is Colin Gates, Granger's head of security. Arrested 2 years ago for bribery, but charges were dropped, due to lack of evidence. The room is dead silent. Granger clenches his fists. Firecracker chaos erupts. Suddenly, Granger bolts up. Granger, yelling. You think this will stop me? You think this, child, can bring me down? Officers move toward him. Lily, calmly. I don't need to bring you down. You already did that yourself. The entire room erupts, gasps, reporters leaping from their seats, officers surrounding Granger. He's restrained. Hauled out in cuffs. The crowd outside cheers as the word spreads. Granger arrested. Case collapsing. Movie camera scene, judge's final word. Judge Alderman looks at Lily. The little girl now surrounded by papers, exhausted, but still standing tall. Judge. Miss Carter, you did what few adults could. You followed the truth, and you stood up when no one else would. The court thanks you. He turns to Adrian. Judge. Mr. West, all charges against you are hereby dropped. Cheers explode in the courtroom. Adrian lowers his head, overwhelmed with emotion. Lily walks to him and hugs him tightly. Pushpin flashback montage. Lily riding her bicycle through back alleys to gather footage. Her sketch of Adrian with his ugly sketchers. Grandma holding her hand after court. The moment she saw Adrian first smile at her during story time years ago. Her saying quietly to herself, sometimes the bravest voice is the smallest one. End of Act 4 summary. Elliot Granger is brought to court and exposed under pressure. Lily and Team Lily dismantle the entire case. Granger's history of corruption comes to light. The courtroom explodes in drama and emotion. Adrian is cleared. Lily is hailed as a hero. Justice begins to rebuild itself, because of a little girl who refused to be silent.